Welcome to your dreams session, dreams day. We normally call it dreams retreat, but obviously we're not really going anywhere special this evening other than into your thoughts. That doesn't sound weird enough. Uh, let's get moving on this. So let me kind of explain what to expect from something like this. Some of you guys have been a part of this type of thing in the past. Others have not, and so let me start off by kind of explaining what this all is, where we got this from, why are we doing this, all of that. So all of this started this idea. So as you guys know, our division is called the North Star Dream Team. This all started in 2013 for our division. For me personally, it started years before that, reading a book called The Dream Manager. Great read, by the way. If you are looking for a book, I'll look at Kiera and Emma there, just really snugged in on one there. So Dream Manager, that book, but written by Matthew Kelly, is kind of what inspired this for me. I left a conference that I heard him speak at. I had his book. I read the book. I made my first ever dreams list. Okay. So I made a list similar with what I'm going to help you all do this evening. So that's one of the things that are going to get done. We're going to do 3 things today. That's the first thing. And so I'm going to help you to create a list, hopefully of 100 to 200. Some of you have already done that. So you're going to amend it and grow it. And from that, some really cool things start to happen. So what I did in my first kind of iteration of this was I created my list. We had people in the office create their list. We shared it. That was awesome. That's the second part that we're going to do is we're going to share as much as you feel comfortable sharing. And then the third step is where we take action. I didn't do that. I just made my list. I shared it. And then I kind of like filed it away on my computer and didn't look at it again for probably sort of in 2000 and probably like 4 or 5 years. I didn't look at it. And then when I had the opportunity to move to North Star and start from scratch in terms of culture, I decided this was something that I wanted to be in the DNA of our division, right? In terms of culture. So we changed the name up here to North Star Dream Team, and we started implementing this stuff right away. So this is a staple within our division of anybody who's in leadership. They're involved with this. This is not a productivity thing. This isn't how to sell more Cutco. This isn't how to be more efficient with your time. This isn't any of that. This is unrelated to Cutco. I'm a firm believer that in work and in life, I think that a business's greatest work, one of the things that a business can do is helping people achieve the life of their dreams. And I also look at it this way. It doesn't matter if it's short-term or long-term. I think that everybody works for a company for a certain period of time before they don't anymore. Right? So what does that mean? We're all kind of on loan, right? Even me, who's been at Cutco for 18 years, it's like at some point I won't be here anymore. And what this dreams mentality is in hopes of helping you live the life of your dreams. So that might sound floofy out there, whatever. Let me explain a couple things. So I'm going to have you write a couple of things down. So if you can start in your notes, and I'd like you to start off by writing a few quotes that we're going to kind of, revolve the evening around. First one, if you can write, when there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. When there is hope in the future, there's power in the present. So what does this mean? This, to me, means that when we're really clear on something that we're working towards, everything that we're trying to get done today becomes easier. We have more energy, more power to the decisions that we do today when we're really clear on what we're moving towards. There's this really big looming question that so many people have, which is like, what am I supposed to do in life? Like, what's my calling? What's the job I'm supposed to have or the career I'm supposed to be in? And there's a lot of people that seemingly will go through life and never really figure it out. And I don't believe that that's necessarily the most important thing. I think what's important is that somebody is alive and living on a regular basis. So what do I mean by that? I mean, they have energy in their day. They have something in the calendar that they're looking at and they're like, that's cool. I can't wait for this. You guys have all been there before, right? Where you have a trip coming up and it's in your mind. Some of you have Gulf Shores, Alabama coming up, right? And you're thinking about it. You're like, that's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. And it's that little thing that's in your calendar, that's in your future, that you're thinking about that brings you some joy to today. right? That's just a small example. But what if we constantly had things like that in our schedule? What if we operated in our peak state, in our peak ability on a regular basis, right? How much different would the results that we got on a regular basis be? How much better would our relationships be? Right? How much better would you do in school or at work or physically? Right. And so, really, what it comes down to is there a way for you to have an objective just in terms of, hey, today matters? And that's what I think this really does. Right. That's what I want to propose to you, that I think it really makes a big difference. Next thing I want you to write down is live life by design. Live life by design. So in other words, again, this goes into the, hey, you hear a lot of like, oh, the normal path is you do this and then you go to school and then you go to college and you pick your major and then you pick that career and you're kind of in that and you get your job and you stay in that job and then you get married and then you have some kids and then, this is kind of like what you do. Hey, that path is fine if that's what you choose. And that's the thing I really want to make sure that you understand, is that you are in the driver's seat. It might not always seem like that. But when somebody goes from year to year and year to year and year to year without making decisions, actively deciding that, hey, this is the path I want to take, that's when people 10 years goes by and they say, time goes fast, as opposed to the people that are living every year in a really exciting manner. So that's what I hope to expose you to today. This is what our division's all about, and we're going to start doing these more often. We normally have in the past done kind of one a year at the end of the summer. And what that has neglected is people that start throughout the year the opportunity to, get a jump on the dream concept. This is also something that I love passionately about our business, so much so that there are so many people that have worked at Cutco, started with this dreams mentality with us, and they still live it today, 2 years after leaving Cutco, 4 years after leaving Cutco, 6 years after leaving Cutco. So I really hope that this is one of those life skills when we talk about what you get from your time here at Vector. I really hope that this is one of those things that you look back on. So there's 3 things that we're going to do tonight. First thing that we're going to do is create your list. I'm going to help you brainstorm. Second thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a section that's called stealing and sharing. Should be sharing and stealing, but we're going to steal each other's dreams. And then the third section that we're going to do is where you actually take action. And the third one is so important to, moving the needle on things as you leave here. So, what is required from you this evening? There's 3 things that's required from you for this to be effective. And so I'd like you to jot these down. I'm going to say these a few times, but I want you to jot them down. The first thing that's expected or needed from you is engagement. This is not meant to be a thing like training, right? Or a web meeting where you just kind of show up and you're on and that's it. Like this isn't meant to be a presentation. This is meant to be an exercise that you participate in. So number 1 is engagement. Number 2, this is really important. You must get yourself to an abundance mindset. So write down abundance mindset. Okay. For you to be able to dream effectively, you can't be thinking with the constraints of today. What do I mean by that? How much money is in your bank account? That's a constraint, right? How much time you have or don't have? What shape you're in physically right now? What's your like? You've got to be taking yourself completely out of what's my reality right now and just having fun with it, right? That's the purpose of tonight, is have a lot of fun, dream it up. Right. The third thing that's needed from you to make tonight a success is vulnerability. So this is a no judgment zone. I am going to ask that you guys share some stuff later. I hope you understand though, I'm only asking you to share whatever you're comfortable sharing. This list could be a list that you don't share with people. I think it's more effective when you do. But you own it. It's not something that's out there for everybody to be able to see. All right. Third thing was vulnerability. Vulnerability. All right. So one of the ways that I think is great to start something like this is to share some success stories of the past. Okay. So hopefully you're okay with this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight some of the people that are on right now this evening that are here to kind of like add to their list, that have gone to a few of these things that I think it's worth sharing some. So I've got some slides. I wasn't able to get all of them on slides that people shared with me. So hang tight if that's the situation. Here we go. All right, you guys ready for this? All right, so this is Elliot, and I'm going to read some of these here from you, right, or for you. So Elliot James, those of you that do not know Elliot is, I believe, 19 years old. Elliot is a college sophomore, and this is what he has done in the last year and in a couple of months. So these are like 2020, early 2021. So I want you to think about this. This is a 19-year-old. Maxed out his Roth IRA twice. That's what's on the right there. It's not all the money he has, by the way, but that's in his Roth IRA. I don't think it gives his account numbers or anything, so I think you're okay. Finished reading his first personal growth book, 10X, and then also Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He now has so I want you to pay close attention to these because some of these might sound like, wait, what? That was a dream? A dream is just anything that you'd be excited about. Anything that you'd be like, that'd be cool, right? It goes on there. This list isn't meant to be like every one of them is a home run. It's meant to be like, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'd be excited about that. You're going to notice that here as we go through. So he had on his, read his first professional growth book. Have a Lulu outfit for every day of the week. That made me laugh. Lululemon, for those of you guys that aren't aware. Accepted into the biomedical engineering program at University of Minnesota Twin Cities. He got the opportunity to speak at a region event. He went skydiving. That's him on the left there. $20,000 plus saved in a withholdings account. He paid for his entire tuition without loans. Isn't that awesome? Earned his first completely free trip, which is Gulf Shores, Alabama. He bought Apple stock, which was on his dreams list. He gained 10 pounds of muscle mass. He made drinking a gallon of water a habit. He visited his cousin in Madison, and he played paintball. That's 1 year. So I want you to think about that. That's an exciting year for anybody, let alone a 19-year-old, right? And he did this because he got really clear doing this exercise, and then he started to take action on it. All right, here's Bobby Severson. That's a little car for his kid, by the way. It's not like his real BMW. All right, let's see here for Bobby. So Bobby has a bunch. I've got some photos here, but Bobby he and his wife built their dream house. So this is on their list. A lot of these things that you're going to see here, this is his house, but there's individual things that were on his dreams list. Look at that. Having a dream closet. How sweet is that? Most of his clothes are Bobby's, not like all of that is Bobby's. Isn't that crazy? Not Lara's. Beautiful house. Custom designed by he and his wife. Look at that. Right? Hey, by the way, Bobby has more stuff on his list, but I wasn't able to get the things from email into this. So here are the other things for Bobby. Bobby got the type of espresso machine that he wanted. He got to stay in a room or got to go to London and Normandy. He also provided photos, by the way, of his dad falling off mid-fall off of something in Normandy and breaking his wrist, which I thought was pretty crazy. A pool table that was on his list. French doors was on the dreams list. Teaching himself how to be a plumber, that was on the list as well. And then he had a lot of photos in there. Take a look at this here. This is a 20-year-old in 2020. This is Alex Spunk's list. In 2020, he ran a branch office. So he ran a business. He ran a top 10 branch office. He never let money be the motivator. He donated $100 in the year. He had a new car without taking out a loan. So he was able to pay in cash. Never did any drugs in 2020. Did not succumb to housemates drinking 2 times per weekend. He read 10 books. He learned how to buy a house. He got a life coach. He learned to Bible study from his mom, learned to meditate daily, beat Jack Ryan in chess, whitewater rafting, going to Cabo San Lucas, went deep sea fishing, earned a Vector National trip, learned how to cook on his own from his dad, helped brother get his rooftop brand going, bought Lululemon clothes, skydiving, continued coaching program, visited his brother in Arizona, ATVs in the desert, upgraded his posture via Zoom, which some of you guys are familiar with, or for Zoom. He did it with one of those little things that you buy. Visited his cousin in Atlanta, bought a house, visited his sister in Colorado, saw both stadiums, featured on Vector's Instagram, went hunting with his dad and uncles in Montana, was the best gift giver voted on in his family. And he ran a marathon. 2021 so far, he already has 9 dreams off the list. Fully leased his house. So he's now a real estate investor. He still has never done any drugs. I'm going to keep watching your list, Alex, to see if that falls off. Saw the Rocky Mountains, climbed a mountain, daily prayer habit, talked to his sister on the phone at least weekly to get their relationship back in a great place. He's increased his flexibility, visited friends in Duluth, and went skiing in Colorado. Let me show you some photos from Alex's, right? So there's Colorado, skiing, buddies in Duluth. He ran, you look at his face, he looks disgusted. He ran 26.2 miles on a treadmill. That was all of us watching him on Zoom and cheering him on. How cool is that? Made his local newspaper too. Bought his first house. Hunting trip with the dudes in the family. Made it on corporate's Instagram. I loved that was on his dreams list. And then some fishing. Upgrading his coaching. ATVs. All right, so let me go. So those are Alex's. Curtis did some glamping, which is like some fancy camping. This was such a cool one. This is 2 meals. Curtis said he committed to doing weekly in a designated time, so every Saturday night, weekly date night with his girlfriend, uninterrupted, where they cook new recipes. They're furthering their relationship, right, and developing a new skill. Pretty cool. I'd eat those. Those look great. Colleen Dolan. Take a look at hers here, right? So when you look, this is Colleen had what's crazy too is when you hear these lists, I hope you're hearing like these are during COVID, right? So when most people are like, man, last year was horrible. What's crazy is these people are like, last year was the year of my life with all the things that I've done. When I look at Colleen's list, she went to Detroit, Michigan. She worked out every day, 50 days in a row. She improved her relationship with her sister. She took a solo trip to Glacier National Park, which is this right here. Went glamping, which is here. Expanded her network through a coaching group. She went to Austin, Texas. She took her first ever ice bath. She went to Tulum, Mexico, which is right here, with best friend for 2 weeks while working remotely. She cut out alcohol for 2 months. She bought a Vitamix. She learned how to wake surf. She spent more time with family. She went to France, which is right here. She moved into her first apartment. She went to Cabo, and she helped break the national January office record. Pretty huge year. Haley Dolan went to the Badlands with Autumn. She went to Paris as well. Let me see if I've got her list right here. Haley, I don't think I have yours on here. Went to Tulum as well. Take a look at this. Oh, this was hers. Paris, buy a piece of jewelry in every country she visits. She went to Tulum. She went to Cancun. She went to Cabo, Day of the Dead, Mexico, Badlands, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, went into a cave and drank cave water. Oh, wow. I didn't know that was on your list. Maxed out her Roth. Donated $100+. Manny's Steakhouse for the first time. Finished more books this year than I did last year, which is 4. Got a personal growth coach. Learned how to track her nutrition. Got AirPods. Made $5,000 in 1 week. In 2021, she's already learned how to cook lobster. Learned how to ski. And then she went skiing in Colorado, which resulted in this. That's her, by the way, rolled up in the ski patrols thing because she tore her ACL her first time skiing in Colorado. That photo, I believe, on the right is with her and her boyfriend before the incident, right? Autumn as well. So again, huge list from Haley this last year. Autumn crossed off since August. This is just since August. She got a tattoo right there in October. She visited South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, Wonderland Cave, Badlands, drove through the Black Hills National Forest, stayed in her first ever Airbnb. She has her own place that she moved into in January. She's working on donating $100 to charity each month. And some of the ones that she has upcoming are flying on her first ever commercial plane, visiting Alabama. She's going to be doing those things with Cutco. Right. So again, I hope you're hearing these and you're like, okay, these are pretty awesome. I know I'm leaving some out. I want to share these with you again, not to be impressive, but to impress upon you the opportunity that you have. All those people made a different amount of money this year, but this came with them getting pen to paper of like, this is what I want to do, right? Putting it out there, sharing, and then taking some action on planning. And these are the things that we're going to take action on here. So 3 things that's needed from you: full engagement, abundance mindset, vulnerability. So here's how this is going to go. I'm going to take you through categories. So I'm going to give you a category. I'm going to say, jot down as many as you can. The idea here is you can't be critical. I'd rather have you put more down and take some off than to start with less, right? So anything that sounds cool, put it down. It doesn't even have to be something that you've like given a ton of thought to, but you're like, yes, that would be awesome. Okay. The more particular, the better. Burt Wicks had on his, I loved this. Burt, when I was talking to him about the dreams he got done this summer, one of them was, I flossed for 30 days straight. And I'm like, that was in your dreams list? He's like, yeah, 30 days of flossing. I'm like, that's awesome. So there are so many, quirky different things that people have that are like, that'd be cool. I'd love to do that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna teach as we go through this. I'm going to start you off with the category that I believe is easiest. That category is travel. Okay, so here we go. So, second timers. Some of you have been here 2, 3, 4 times. You've done this before. What you're doing here, what I would do is I would just start from scratch and then combine them. Right? So those of you that have done this before, start from scratch, combine it. You're going to notice that you have some down that you have not done. Micah, great question. This is absolutely not 2021. This is in your entire lifetime. Right? So think with no limitations. This isn't in 2021. This is just like, hey, at some point in my life, I'd like to visit this, this, and this. Everybody got that? So this is not a 2021. We'll get to the next 6 months, 12 months, that type of thing. But for this first part, it's just like have some fun with this thing. All right. Okay. So here we go. So first order of business is travel. Right? Travel. And I'm going to take you through on a little tour here. So what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to start with travel and I'm going to go geographically from US to different continents. You do not have to follow along with this, but I'm basically just going to be reading out a whole bunch of places and things. Okay. So here we go. So for travel, let's start with the US. Go ahead and just put, again, you don't have to put any of these down. I'm just going to be stating things that you can steal if you want. If you have some right off the top of your head, go ahead and put them in. All right. So California, maybe you've wanted to go to San Diego, Los Angeles. Maybe you wanted to go visit the Hollywood sign, right? That's in LA. Maybe you want to go to Santa Monica, go to the pier with the Ferris wheel, Venice Beach. Maybe you want to go to Muscle Beach and do a set of weights out there, pop on some rollerblades, cruise up and down the boardwalk. Maybe you want to go to Pacific Beach in San Diego, maybe Joshua Tree National Forest, right? That's out there. Maybe you want to go to San Francisco, right? See the Golden Gate Bridge. Maybe you want to go see like the Silicon Valley, all the headquarters out there. Maybe you're a sports fan, right? You want to go see the new Oracle Arena for the Warriors. Maybe Napa Valley is something that you'd like to do at some point in your life, right? And do a little wine tour. Maybe it's doing the Redwood Forest. Maybe it's driving on the Highway 101 that goes up and down the coast. Do you want to go to Yosemite? Do you want to do the John Muir Trail, which is like a crazy awesome hike? Do you want to go to Death Valley? Right? In California, outside of Las Vegas. Do you want to go somewhere in Oregon? Do you want to go see an Oregon Ducks football game? Do you want to see that arena? Do you want to see the Nike headquarters? Do you want to go to Portland? They have one of the most renowned donut shops in Portland. Look it up. If you're really into donuts, maybe you look that up. Maybe you want to go to Seattle. See the Space Needle. Go see Puget Sound. right? Do you want to go to the Olympic National Forest? Do you want to see Mount Rainier? Do you want to go to Coeur d'Alene in Idaho? Do you want to see any of the national parks that are in Iowa or in Idaho? There's not a ton of national parks in Iowa. Do you want to go to fly fishing? Do you want to do hunting? Do you want a road trip across there? Do you want to go to Montana, Glacier National Park, where Colleen went? It's beautiful. The Bitterroot Valley in National Forest. I went there this September. Unbelievable. I love the show Yellowstone. If you've ever seen that, I got to go to where that was filmed in Montana. I stayed at a resort right outside there. Fly fishing was on my list. I got to do that in Montana. Do you want to go to Flathead Lake, which is a really popular lake in Montana? Right? Do you want to go to Big Sky, skiing or snowboarding? Do you want to go heli-skiing, where they drop you out of a helicopter, right, on a mountain and you go? Haley, don't do that. Do you want to go to Salt Lake City? That lake is massive. Do you want to go to St. George, Zion National Park? Do you want to go to actual Yellowstone Park? Do you want to go to Moab, Utah? It's supposed to be one of the best biking. Do you want to go to Las Vegas? I didn't forget about it. What do you want to do in Las Vegas? Do you want to go see a show? Do you want to see a UFC fight in Las Vegas? Do you want to go to the new Raiders Stadium? Do you want to win $1,000 gambling in Las Vegas? Do you want to have a slot machine go off and have everybody cheer for you in Las Vegas? Right? Do you want to see some sort of show? Is there a comedian you want to see? Do you want to do the zip lining, right, down the main street in Fremont? Do you want to go to Lake Havasu? Do you want to go to Lake Tahoe? These are some of the most popular lakes that are out there, right? Do you want to go to Lake Mead, which is outside of Vegas? What about Arizona? Do you want to go to one of my favorite places? I just got back from Sedona. A ton of national parks there. Grand Canyon National Park, not too far from there. They've got these energy vortexes where the trees all grow and spiral all in the same direction. It's crazy. Unbelievable hiking. Do you want to go to Phoenix and Scottsdale? Do you want to go to spring training for baseball? Do you want to go to a golf tournament there? I just crossed a list off my dream, a dream off my list in January. I got to golf Torrey Pines. For those of you guys that like to golf, right? That was on my list. Pebble Beach, right? Those types of things. What about New Mexico? Do you want to go to Albuquerque? Do you want to go to Santa Fe? Do you want to see some of the painted caves? Some of the coolest art districts in the US are in those areas. Do you want to see the largest hot air balloon festival, which is in New Mexico? What about Texas? What do you want to do there? Do you want to go to a rodeo in Texas? Do you want to go to San Antonio and see the Alamo? Do you want to go to Austin? Do you want to go to Houston? Do you want to, what do you want to see there? Dallas. Do you want to see the Dallas Cowboys Stadium? You don't want to be in Austin right now. I think that nobody has clean water, right? You guys watching the news? Do you want to go to Oklahoma? Do you want to go to any of the historical sites? Do you want to do any of the, old routes, if you will, like that people traveled from east to west on? Do you want to go to Kansas City? Do you want to get, some of the best barbecue? Do you want to go to the Black Hills, see Mount Rushmore, the Badlands? Right? Maybe it's in Minnesota. Maybe you want to go to the Boundary Waters in Minnesota and doing a canoe trip. Maybe you want to do an ice fishing trip. right? Maybe there's a lake that you've really wanted to go to. Maybe it's something that's close, that's nearby to where you live, that you're like, I've never done blank and I've always wanted to do that. Maybe it's the Apostle Islands, right? Do you want to go to Summerfest in Milwaukee? On my list was go see, I used to love Leinenkugel's. I wanted to go see the Leinenkugel's brewery. My wife took me there. What about, is there anything in Iowa or Illinois? Do you want to go to Chicago? Do you want to go get a picture by the Big Bean downtown? Right? Do you want to go up and down Lake Michigan and do the shopping? Do you want to drive up and down Lakeshore Drive and see all the amazing old homes? You want to go to St. Louis, right? See the Arch. You want to go downtown there, see that? They got some cool casinos there as well. Do you want to, maybe you want to go to Arkansas? I don't know. Maybe you're into that, like, let me go see where Walmart is headquartered, right? Maybe that's like on your list. You're like, yeah, that I'm super into capitalism and I want to see that. I don't know. Maybe that's your jam. Maybe it is New Orleans. New Orleans is on my list. Maybe you want to go there specifically during Mardi Gras, maybe in like a non-COVID year. Maybe you want to go to Baton Rouge, right? See live jazz music in New Orleans, in the French Quarters. Maybe you want to go to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Oh, we're doing it. Maybe you want to go to Memphis. Maybe it's Nashville. Maybe you want to see as much live music as you can in Nashville. Maybe you want to play live music in Nashville because that's your jam and you're great at it. Or you're not and you still want to do it. Right? What about in Kentucky? Do you want to do like the Bourbon Trail? Maybe that's what you're into. Do you want to go to Louisville? Do you want to go to Kentucky Derby? Any and all of these should be on a list. Do you want to go to, anything in Ohio? Do you want to go see the Ohio State Buckeye Stadium, see a game there? What about Michigan? Do you want to go to the UP? Beautiful land up there. Do you want to go to Traverse City? It's supposed to be a really popular area. Let's go all the way down south. Do you want to go to Florida? Do you want to go to the Keys? Beautiful area. Do you want to go to Miami and party it up in South Beach? Do you want to go to the Everglades, right? See the alligators. Right? Do you want to go to Boca Raton? Do you want to go to Palm Springs is in what am I thinking now? I'm lost. Palm Springs is in California. What am I thinking of? Boca Raton. What's that little? West Palm Beach. That's what it is. It's this island of unbelievable homes. If you're into that. Do you want to go to Disney World? Disneyland. I skipped that in California. You want to go to SeaWorld? What at Disney World do you want to see? Like the Harry Potter world? Isn't that new or something? Right? Those of you that know, you know. Do you want to go to Jacksonville? You want to go to Tampa? The new sports capital, I guess. You want to go to Fort Myers or Naples or Marco Island, Panama City? Do you want to go see the Daytona 500 or the Indianapolis 500? Do you want to go to Savannah, Georgia? Do you want to go watch the Masters? Do you want to go to Atlanta? Charleston, South Carolina is supposed to be amazing. Asheville, I've heard amazing thing that's on my list of places I want to go. On my list, I wanted to see an SEC football game. I got to go see Alabama at Georgia in Athens, Georgia. That was amazing. I also have going to an at-home Alabama game, even though I don't like them. I still want to see it. Do you have anything with the Smoky Mountains, Knoxville? Do you want to go see do you want to go to Chapel Hill if you're a basketball fan? Durham. Watch Duke in North Carolina. You want to go to Hilton Head and play golf? Do you want to go to Washington, D.C. and see the history, right? See all the different things that are there to see in D.C. in the surrounding areas? Do you want to go to Baltimore? How about Philadelphia to see all the history that's there in Philadelphia? Do you want to eat a cheesesteak, as cliche as it is, in Philadelphia while going up the steps, the Rocky steps, right? All at the same time. Is that something that would be cool for you? Do you want to see the Liberty Bell? Tons of history. Do you want to go to New York City? What do you want to do in New York City? Do you want to go to Broadway? Do you want to go to Boston? They've got so many tours in Boston to see all the history that made the US, right? Tons of stuff that's there. Do you want to see all the amazing universities that are there? Do you want to see a Boston Red Sox game, a New York Yankees game? Do you want to go to the Great Northeast, to Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine? You want to go get your own lobster? All right, the other US, how about Alaska? Do you have any aspirations of going to Alaska? Be specific of when. I don't mean year. I mean, do you want to go in the summer? Do you want to go in the winter? Because you think that'd be amazing. Do you want to go on a hunting trip? Do you want to just go on a fly fishing trip? Do you just want to go on a, check it out type of deal? Do you want to go on an Alaskan cruise? Do you want to go to Hawaii? Do you want to see a volcano? Right? The more, the better on this list. All right, we're going to keep going. How about Canada? What do you want to see in Canada? I've not been. It's on my list. Vancouver, Canada. It's supposed to be unbelievable. There's so many large national parks and whatnot. I didn't even talk about Colorado. I skipped that somehow. Do you want to go to the Rockies? Do you want to go to Denver? Steamboat Springs, Boulder, Colorado Springs, Aspen, Vail, Breckenridge. Do you want to ski all over those places? Do you want to go to Calgary? Right by Calgary is Banff, Canada. That's unbelievable. One of the coolest places I've seen. Do you want to go to Toronto? Do you want to see Montreal? Nova Scotia, right? Like, what areas would be amazing for you to be able to see? How about if we go a little south? Do you want to go to Mexico? Do you want to go to Cabo San Lucas? Do you want to go to Puerto Vallarta? How about Cancun? I'm just going to keep going. You want to be right and fast. Do you want to go to Mexico City? See one of the largest cities in the world? Do you want to go to Tulum, which has been super popular lately? Do you want to go to Playa del Carmen? Do you want to go to Belize? That's one of Bobby's favorite places, Bobby Severson. How about Guatemala? Do you want to go to Costa Rica? That's one of my wife's and my favorite place. Do you want to go to the jungle in Costa Rica? Do you want to go to the beaches in Tamarindo? Do you want to learn how to surf? These are all things that you could put down for travel. Do you want to see the rainforest? What about Panama? Do you want to go to Panama City, see the canal? Like the real Panama City, not Panama City, Florida, like Panama City, Panama. They have these islands that are called Bocas del Toro. That was on my list. I got to go. They're unbelievable. You take little boats to like island hop, not really cars. It's unbelievable. until your friend steps on a sea urchin. That is not as cool. Do you want to go to Colombia? I know it's got a stigma, but it's supposed to be unbelievably beautiful. I've had a friend that went and spent time in Medellin. Thought it was amazing. Do you want to go to Bogota? You can actually go and paintball in, what's the dude's name? Escobar. You can go paintball in his old house. They turned into a paintball place. How cool would that be? Paintball in Pablo Escobar's house. Right? So is there a place in Colombia? How about Ecuador, Peru? How about Chile? Do you want to go to Patagonia? Casey Fenlon did that. Do you want to go to Argentina? Cutco took us on a trip to Buenos Aires, and it was amazing. Do you want to go to Antarctica? I had a friend that just did that on an expedition. He took a year off from work and traveled the world, and he went to Antarctica. All it looked cool about was being able to say you went to Antarctica. The rest of it didn't look like it was very enjoyable. But he went to Antarctica, which is pretty cool. Do you want to see the Iguazu Falls, one of the most amazing waterfalls in the world? I think that's in Uruguay. How about, do you want to see the salt flats of Bolivia? Look that up. You can actually see it on the map. It's like the only time when you look at a map that something is pure white. It's the salt flats of Bolivia. How about Venezuela? Do you want to go to Aruba? Where at Brazil do you want to go? Do you want to go to the Amazon? Do you want to see like the largest snake in the world up front and like, close and personal? I don't. I'm just throwing it out there. Do you want to see the Redeemer statue? Do you want to see the beaches in Brazil? Do you want to go to a football match in Brazil? I went to a professional soccer match in Argentina. It was probably the coolest live sports event I've ever been to. Wild. Do you want to go to Bahamas? Cuba, open for business. Do you want to go to Jamaica, La Quiera? How about Puerto Rico? How about Dominican Republic? I got married in Punta Cana. It's beautiful. You want to go to Turks and Caicos? The more you travel, the more of these like really weird small places that you hear about that you're like, ooh, I'm going to go there. Any interest in going to the Bermuda Triangle? It's a real thing. Maybe you're a daredevil. Right? How about the British Virgin Islands? St. Martin. I went to St. Martin for my honeymoon. Unbelievable. It's two nations on one island, essentially. By the way, I hope too, as I'm sharing like my things that I have been, you don't hear that as boasting, but helping to brainstorm more things. St. John's, Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada. Do you want to go to the Galapagos Islands? Right? It's supposed to be one of the most diverse, amazing ecosystems. Do you want to go to Greenland or Iceland? How about Ireland? What do you want to do in Ireland? So write down Ireland if you want to go and be specific. Do you want to, as cliched as it is, do you want to get a Guinness in Ireland? Do you want to go to the Guinness factory? It's really cool. They've got this gravity bar. Cutco rented out the whole thing for the managers on a trip. It was really cool. Hey, little thing they're not going to tell you, they actually serve Smirnoff Ice at the gravity bar at the Guinness factory. I don't know why they would do that, but it's true. It's a true story. Do you want to see the Cliffs of Moher? Do you want to go to Scotland? Do you want to see a rugby game in Ireland? How about UK? Do you want to go to London? Manchester? Do you want to see a, European league soccer match? Where at in Europe do you want to go? Do you want to go to Portugal? Go to Lisbon? Do you want to go to Spain? Do you want to go to Valencia, Madrid, Barcelona? Do you want to see southern Spain, Gibraltar? Do you want to go to France? Do you want to go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower? Is there any wine country that you want to go to? Do you want to see Normandy? Do you want to see Nice or Monaco? These areas that you see in movies like James Bond movies. How about Switzerland? Do you want to go to Zurich? Do you want to go to Geneva? Switzerland, like the money capital of the world. Where at in Belgium do you want to go? Do you want to see Amsterdam in the Netherlands? What about Norway? Do you want to see the fjords? Bergen is supposed to be one of the most beautiful places in the world. I went there, but I chose to go there in February. Don't go there then. It's not one of the most beautiful places in the world in February. That was a mistake. You want to go to Oslo? How about Stockholm, Copenhagen, Sweden, Finland? What about Germany? Do you want to drive on the Autobahn? Unlimited speeds. Right? Do you want to see the Berlin Wall? What about Austria? Do you want to go to Vienna? See all the history there. What about Prague? Prague is such a cool historical city. Do you want to go to Italy? And where at? Do you want to go to Venice before it sinks? Not a joke, by the way. Look it up. It's sinking every year. Venice, amazing city. You want to go to Florence, Rome, Milan. Do you want to go to Naples? Look up the Amalfi Coast if you've never heard of it. Unbelievable. Limoncello, you've heard of that? It's from that area. They have lemon trees all over as far as you can see. Do you want to go to the boot of Italy? Do you want to go to Malta? What about Croatia? Do you want to see the walled city that's in a lot of movies? It's Dubrovnik. I know I'm saying it wrong. What about Eastern Europe? You want to go to Poland? Are you into nightclubs? Right? Maybe Eastern Europe's your place. Poland, Slovakia, Budapest in Hungary. We had a company trip there. That was amazing. It's 2 cities in one, Buda and Pest. Right? Do you want to go to Greece? We had some managers that went to Greece recently. Athens. Do you love Greek history? How cool to see it up close and personal. Do you want to go to the Greek Isles? Romania, Moldova. You want to go to Russia? This doesn't mean right now in the state that things are in now, but do you want to go to Russia at some point? Do you want to go to Moscow, St. Petersburg? Do you want to go to Istanbul, Turkey? We actually had a company trip planned for that, and they canceled it. It wasn't safe anymore, unfortunately. So they moved it. That's still on my list of places I really want to go. How about Africa? Do you want to go to Morocco? See the markets in Marrakesh? Do you want to go to Tangiers? You see those in Casablanca. You see it in movies all the time. Do you want to do a safari? Do you want to explore some of the booming cities of the Western nations of Africa? Liberia, Ghana. Do you want to go to, do you want to go to Nigeria? Cameroon? Do you want to go to South Africa? Do you want to go to Cape Town? Do you want to go to Johannesburg? If you're into hunting, is there something that, a place that you want to go? No judgment. Do you want to go to Zimbabwe or Zambia? Mount Kilimanjaro. I know a few people that have been able to go and experience that. Tanzania. Lake Victoria is supposed to be one of the most beautiful large lakes in the world. Do you want to go to Egypt? Do you want to see the pyramids? Do you want to go to Cairo? Do you want to see the Red Sea? I did a class project in 8th grade on a country called Djibouti, which is right in the corner of the Red Sea, and forever it's been on my list for no other reason than I did a project in 8th grade on it. The capital of Djibouti is Djibouti City. Madagascar. Do you want to go to the Middle East? Do you want to go to Israel? Do you want to go to Lebanon? Jerusalem, Beirut? Do you want to go to some of these, such historically rich cities? Do you want to go to United Arab Emirates? Do you want to go to Dubai and see the amazing architecture that's taking place there? Do you want to go to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, India? Do you want to go to the island off of India, Sri Lanka? Do you want to see some of the biggest cities in the world? Do you want to go study? If you're super into spirituality and yoga and whatnot, is that on your list? I didn't mention before, but the Alps. Do you want to go to the Himalayas in this area? Nepal. Do you want to go further in Southeast Asia? Do you want to go to Thailand, Vietnam? I had on my list doing certain things in Thailand. Do you want to go to Indonesia? Cambodia. I'm leaving some off as I kind of go through. Not intentionally, but do you want to go to Philippines? Do you want to go to Bora Bora? Do you want to go to Japan? Where at in Japan? Do you want to go to Tokyo? Do you want to go to South Korea? Do you want to go to North Korea? I have a friend that's gone to North Korea. His pictures are crazy. Like just eerie. Where at in China do you want to go? Do you want to see the Great Wall of China? Do you want to see the big cities? Do you want to see the country? Do you want to do a train tour? What about Fiji, Australia? What about New Zealand? All right, I'm for sure leaving some off. But that's a lot. There's a lot of places. All right, guys, that's the first category. We've got about 7 more. That's the longest category. So if you're wondering, that's a very long category. So we'll add, you can add more to this as we go as well. So let's go to the next category. The next category that I want you to write down is adventure. Now, this one, adventure, is going to be a little bit shorter. And so when I say adventure to you, essentially what I'm referring to when it comes to this is, and there's crossovers. So some of the things that you wrote down in travel might be an adventure. So here are the things for adventure that I want you to think about, or I'm going to propose to you. So adventure would be like skydiving. Now you might go as far as to say skydiving in blank and have an actual location of where you want to do it. Right? But that's essentially what this would be. The more detail, the better. But skydiving, how about hot air balloon ride? How about bungee jumping? How about whitewater rafting? Do you want to rent those like squirrel suits? You know those Red Bull videos where you're like flying and you're the suit? Do you want to hang glide? Do you want to learn how to fly a helicopter? A buddy of mine did this excursion in Las Vegas where you can fire heavy guns like massive machine guns out of helicopters in the desert. I don't know if that was on his dreams list, but I was like, maybe you want to shoot some high powered guns. That'd be an adventure one. Maybe it's attending. So let's talk about sports, right? Like maybe it's adventure would be like, for me, I have on my list, no judgment, I have watched the Packers live in a Super Bowl. Right? Like go to the actual Super Bowl. I'm a Wisconsin Badger fan. So I have watched like a 10-day live Final Four with the Badgers in it. I got to do that. I think it was 2015. I have watched the Badgers in a national championship for football. Probably never going to happen, but it's on my list. I have on mine, go to a live World Cup. I want to see the Olympics in person at least once in my life. I don't care if it's winter or summer. Maybe you're super into sailing and you want to go to the Sailing World Championships. Maybe you're super into some sort of sport and you really want to go see that. Maybe you're super into theater. And so there's certain places that you want to go. Like, and this would go into the adventure, just experience category. Maybe you want to go see a live show at Second City in Chicago. Comedy Cellar. I love live comedy, stand-up comedy. Live Comedy Cellar is this one where famous comedians will go to and just drop into in New York City. That was on my list I got to do. Nobody famous dropped in, unfortunately. But I had on mine see Jerry Seinfeld live. Right? Is there a artist or musician that you would love to be front row at or in a concert for? Who are they? Write them down. Maybe you want to go to a music festival. Maybe you want to go to Burning Man. You know what that is? It's like a week-long, it's in the middle of nowhere, California. It's literally, there's nothing there. And for 1 week, it's usually end of August, September. 50,000 plus people go to this area and they set up a tent city. And it's arts and craziness. It's out of my, it's too crazy for me, but my brother's a lawyer. He goes every year. It's like where he gets his crazy out once a year. Look it up, Burning Man. Are there certain things adventure-wise? Do you want, when it comes to adventure, maybe it's going on a horseback riding trip. Maybe it's going camping or glamping. Maybe it's scuba diving. Maybe it's just snorkeling in a certain area. Maybe you want to drive an exotic race car. Maybe you want to do running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Maybe you want to volunteer in another country. Maybe you want to attend a live UFC match. I have on my list, do the pilgrimage of Camino de Santiago. It's a spiritual walk on the northern coast of Spain. It's a 30-day walk. I had on mine, live on a sailboat for a week. I still have on mine, we haven't done it. Go to the airport and just take the next flight out. A little more complicated now with kids. but not knowing where the location is, right? I want to go to a live Jimmy Fallon showing. I want to go dog sledding. I had on mine zorbing. You guys know what zorbing is? It's where you're in those huge, enormous inflatable balls and you run around and hit each other. We did that at a cut. It was on my list, so I just paid for us to do it at a Cutco event. So we had like 20 of them show up, and a bunch of people like you showed up, and you like play soccer and nail each other, and it was pretty awesome. I had a mine slip and slide kickball. That was dangerous. I made people sign a waiver before we did it, so that you couldn't sue me if you died. So the adventure one is just supposed to be like fun. Fun, weird, whatever, just things that would be like, that would be awesome. And some of these are big things, some of them are small things. But that's the adventure one. All right, next, let's go to the next category here. So after adventure, I'm going to move a little bit faster through these other ones. Go ahead and write down material. So here's what material is. This one's going to sound superficial. That's okay. So when I say material, it's like, hey, what are some things that you'd love to buy or to own? We're going to get to charitable things and stuff as well. But hey, some of this stuff is cool. So material, do you want to buy a house? I had on mine buy a house, and then I had to have a second lake house. And then I also have on mine have a third house, right? That's okay. Be specific about where. I have on mine have a home in Costa Rica. Do you want to have a swimming pool? When you think about your ideal house, what would you love to have? Do you want to have a pool? Do you want to have in-floor heating? Right, where most of you live, that's nice. I love showers, not to get weird. I'm not like weird about them, but I love showers. So on mine, I had like this ideal shower design. I was on my dreams list, like multiple shower heads. I want a fish tank wall. Like a wall in the shower is a fish tank. I don't know. I think that's cool. You might think it's weird. That's okay. We're in the no judgment zone. Do you want to have a movie theater in your house? Do you want to have a sauna or a steam room? Do you want a bowling alley? Do you want a basketball court? Maybe you're like a prepper. Do you want to have a bunker? Some of you are like, ooh, mm-hmm. Is there a certain kind of car that you want to have? It's okay if there's multiple. Maybe it's just, and guys, with some of these dreams too, I hope you understand you can elevate them. What do I mean by that? You can write down, have a car. I just want a car to start. And then on the dreams list is, I want a new car. And then it's, I want a car with no car payment. Maybe then it's I want a Porsche. Does that make sense? So it doesn't have to be this like big number. It could be something that's, more attainable faster. Maybe you want to have a motorcycle. Maybe you want to have a dirt bike. Maybe you want to have a jet ski. Maybe you want to have a snowmobile. Think about the things that you're into. What are the things that you'd love to have in that hobby? You want to have a boat? What kind of boat? If there's certain clothing that you want. I had on my list have tailored suits. I also have on mine having season tickets to certain sporting events. That to me is a material thing. It's an experience, right? That could have gone under adventure or material. I wrote on mine, not only do I want to have a pool, I want to have a swim up bar at my home pool, just like they have at resorts. I have neither of those things, by the way, but it's on my list. I want a sports wall where I have multiple TVs so I can have multiple NFL games going on at the same time. Do you want to have a pizza oven? Are you super into something and you want one room of a house dedicated to that? Right? Is there a design or something that you want to have? A certain belt, certain brand of shoes? Have some fun with this. All right, we're going to move to the next category. Next category. Go ahead and write down career. There's going to be 3 headers for this. Career / vocation / financial. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Career, vocation, financial. So let me get you started with this one. Now, is it okay to have multiple careers on your list? Yeah, right. It's not uncommon for people to have multiple careers in their life. So this isn't I'm going to accomplish all of these things. This is my menu, and I want to keep going back to that so that you understand this. So you could start small. Maybe you have some things on there that are Cutco specific because this is where you currently are working, right? So maybe it's hit my next promotion. Maybe it's have a $10,000 push. Maybe it's, open my own office. Maybe it's get promoted. Maybe it's save a certain amount of money in withholdings, right? I read off some of our managers' dreams, and you heard there was a lot of them. And the reason there was a lot is because they were making some more attainable than others. So for me on my list, I had, when I made my first list, I was a district manager. So I had on there, get promoted to DVM by 24. Then I had on there, run $1 million office, run a $2 million office. And then I've since added to it where I wrote down, run a $6 million division, an $8 million division, a $10 million division. So I have benchmarks. So you can think about Cutco first. Then I want you to think about what's your dream career? What's the thing that you've thought about that would light you up? And then what are some things in that category? And it could be multiple. You could be like, I don't know. I've been thinking about doing this or this. Cool. Put them both on there. The more, the better. And then what are the things that you'd want to accomplish within that role? Do you want to start your own business? What kind of business? I have a lot of different things on mine that are starting all sorts of different businesses. There are other things on the list, and here's why I want to introduce something else. Most of the things that we've talked about so far are I attained it and I checked it off my list, right? Like a travel destination. Like I went there, I did that, check. Material thing, I bought that, I have it, check. There are also things that you can put on your dreams list, which are not necessarily I accomplished it, but it's I'm living it. Okay, so here's an example. When it comes to on my professional business one, I have on there, always treat people right. That's not a check. It's not like I did that. I no longer ever need to do that again. Right? That's like a thing that when I look at my list, I remind myself of that's something I want to make sure I'm always doing. I have on there, again, always make decisions off what's best for the person, not for money. I have on mine, make an impact on a business felt afterward. I have on mine, speak and inspire others. I have on mine, make a difference. I have on mine, never stop enjoying what I do. Right? So these are things that, again, I'm never going to achieve like I made it, but it's something that I want to live and embody. And that's going to come up in some of the other groups that we're going to go through here in a moment. Okay? So what are things that you want to do in that category? Now, when it comes to financial, what are some financial ones also? Right? This might be save your first 1,000. This might be get out of debt. Rachel Peterson, that was what she achieved this year, was getting out of debt. It was on her dreams list. That's awesome. She has more inspiring ones than that, but she had to get out of debt first to do the others. So maybe it's pay off your student loans by a certain period. Maybe it's get rid of credit card debt. Maybe it's never have unhealthy debt. Maybe you have on there, earn 50 grand in a year, earn 100,000 in a year, earn $1 million in a year. I have different benchmarks. Maybe you have a certain amount that you'd love to have, is just saved up. Maybe instead of earning, it's, I want to save my first $50,000. I have on mine never have unhealthy debt. I have on mine give great gifts. That's under financial for me. This is where I had real estate stuff. Own an income producing asset, which would be real estate. I also have under financial teach people finances. I have on mine never have my dreams limited by money. Never let my schedule be dictated by money. Those aren't things that, right? Those are things I need to get to that place. Leave school funds for my children that they have to work for, or they can use to travel or start a business. Right? Be able to retire by a certain age. So what are some of the ones that you have financially? And again, you can see why if you go through this a second or third or fourth time that more things would come to mind. I hope you can also see that if you were to do this at home, at school, on a vacation, in June versus December versus March, like every time you do it, you're in a different place. And therefore you have different things that come to front of mind. Right? Because we're not always feeling the same way. Okay, next category. Next category, go ahead and write down family. This is one category that's less check it off the list and more here's how I want to live. I'm going to give you some check it off the list ones though. Maybe it's get a boyfriend or girlfriend. Just go get them. Okay. Maybe it's get married. Right. Doesn't mean that it needs to be who you're with. Just you want to get married. Just write that down if you want to. Maybe it's have a kid. Maybe it's have multiple kids. Maybe you're like, I know exactly. I want the normal, like 2.5 children, right? Like write down what you're feeling for that right now. And again, these can change. These aren't written in stone. Other ones on the family one are like, I have on mine, I have a lot of different ones that are like, be a great son to my parents. Be a great brother to my siblings. I also have be a great friend to my close friends. And I describe in my list like what that means to me. I also have on mine, when it comes to family, I have things like instill great values for my family. I have in there, don't miss kids' activities. I have be religious about maintaining date night with my wife. Right? We had date night last night. We have somebody come watch our kids. It's awesome. It's so important. My daughter now says this. And this is why these things matter, because we wouldn't do this if I wasn't intentional about it. Our oldest daughter, who's 4.5 years old, when we tell her, and she says this now, she said this to Nick and Becca Leindecker came and visit us in San Diego. And so they watched the girls for a Tuesday night so we could go out, which was awesome for them. And when we were leaving, Elin said, "Are you guys going on a date?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That's so that you guys stay married." And I said, "That is absolutely right." Because I said that at some point of like, we go on a date so we stay married. And she goes, "And you want to stay married because you want to keep us." I was like, "What?" It's like, where'd you get that? Yes, I do want to keep you guys, but who said she's getting, all right. So I don't know what my wife's telling them, but that stuff I think matters, and it's modeling the right way to do a relationship. I have on mine, volunteer with my family. I have be in a position to help my parents when they're older. I have always be interested and supportive of my wife's work / passions. I have exhibit patience with my children, have a family date or a game night, take individual trips with each kid, do a monthly date with each child, right? Like I have stuff like that that's on my dreams list that's a reminder to me of the way I want to be. So hopefully that spurred a few for you. I think that's a category that kind of gets clearer as you go. Next category, please write down, is personal. Okay, this kind of includes a few different things. So personal is I'm gonna start off with some health ones. So do you have health things that would be cool to you? Like, hey, maybe it's you want to gain weight, like Elliot had on his list. Maybe you want to lose weight. Is there a certain amount you'd like to lose or gain? Maybe you want to run a 5K race, maybe a 10K. Maybe you want to run a marathon. Maybe you want to run an ultra marathon, like the 50 milers. Maybe you want to do a Ragnar race with your friends. Maybe you want to do one of those 100-mile bike rides. Maybe it's a completed triathlon. Maybe instead of going for a Ironman, you write down, do an Ironman, a triathlon, and a sprint triathlon. Maybe it's just eating a certain way. Maybe it's being under a certain, body percent, like body fat percentage. Right? What are some health things? Maybe it's lifting a certain amount. Maybe it's increasing your flexibility. You heard Alex put down, like he can touch the ground now from standing, increasing his flexibility. Okay, also under personal would be some intellectual / creative things. So what do you want to learn? What's a new skill you'd love to learn? Do you want to learn a new language? Or refresh on a language? Maybe it's an instrument. Do you want to learn how to play the piano or the guitar? Do you want to take singing lessons? Do you want to read a certain amount of books in a year? Right? This is more the emotional and mental portion. I have on my list, I want to teach a university class at some point. Right? Maybe you want to do something like learn photography, take a wine class, learn how to knit. Right? Like maybe you want to learn coding. Maybe you want to write a book. These things, maybe you want to start a podcast. These would go into that creative, intellectual. Also under that category would be some spiritual, religious things. Maybe it's pray daily. Maybe it's attend church regularly. Maybe it's keep your faith present in all the decisions that you make. Maybe it's read the Bible. Maybe it's go to heaven. You don't necessarily get to check it off while you're here, but maybe for spiritual, it's like learning more about world religion. Maybe it's learning how to meditate. Maybe it's living in gratitude. I have on mine, I'm not ready for, but it's on my list. I want to do this. There's a 10-day silence retreat. Like you're totally unplugged and you are solo, no talking, 10 straight days. I had a friend that did that and he's like, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And it was crazy. Like the stuff that comes up. It's like, that sounds amazing in a like tough way. Other emotional things. Maybe it's like, I have on my list, like be positive, in control of my attitude. Empower others around me. Never be the no person. Be the person people go to that when they know they need to pick me up. Maybe it's journal consistently. Like, so what are the ones that you have for personal? All right, and then the last category that we have is legacy. And legacy, if you want to write down the header. And for this one, this is more of the, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of an impact do you want to make in this world? Maybe it's teaching and inspiring people. Maybe it's starting a charity. Maybe it's donating a certain amount. And again, that could be benchmarks. Donate 100 in a year, 1,000 in a year, 10,000 in a year. I have on mine, start a scholarship where I get to decide who gets the money. Right? Maybe it's a tradition in your family of giving back. Maybe it's setting up a trust for your family. Legacy could also be something fun, like having a street named after you before you pass away. Maybe you're specific in how you want your funeral in your legacy. I know how I want mine. I've already shared it with my wife. Mine's going to be a rager. You're all welcome. Right, but with legacy, it's more of the like, what are things at some point in your life that you'd love to be able to look back and be like, I did that. All right. Here's what I'm gonna have you guys do. I want you to add up how many you got. I'm interested in this. Add it all up. Do me a favor, throw it in the chat. Add it up. Those of you that did this for a second or third time, put how many new ones maybe that you have, or how many you came up with this time, or your total. I don't care. Put something in there. Wow. Can you throw it in that? Throw it in the big chat. Come on, Elliot. Throw it in the big boy chat. All right. Keep them coming. Love it. People are still counting. Isaiah, you must have like had it really detailed. Keep them coming. 65 new ones. Nice. Woo, Dylan. Dream Machine. You don't get any prizes, by the way, based on how many you have, so no sweat. Grafton, you lost to Dylan, but I'm just kidding. It's not a contest. Nice. Julia Zook, is this your first time? Oh. No idea. I thought for sure you've done this before. Danny. Elise. DJ. DJ, is this your first time? Oh, I can't believe you guys weren't. Wow. Autumn. Luca. 182. Holy cow. 79. Gloria, 123.79. Awesome. Love to see that. Welcome to your BF. Melissa, great. Kiera, 170. Peyton. Callie, is this your first one, Callie? No, okay. Solomon, 160. Second one, that's what I thought. Sammy, 150 new. Holy cow. Jacob Aga, 153. Oh, Curtis mailing it in. All right, man. How we do anything is how we do everything. Bridget, still want to wrap this, right? Keep them coming if you haven't put them in there yet. Okay. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. We kind of got to go. We kind of got to move somewhat quickly. That took longer than what I thought it was going to take. Here's what I would like you to do. All right. I'm going to put you in a breakout room. So let me give you the directions now. Right? So I'm going to put you in Journey. Holy cow. Great job. I'm going to put you in a breakout room. And here's what you're going to do. I'm going to ask you to select 5. So write this down. You're going to have 5 from the travel category, 5 from adventure, and then 3 from the other categories. So if you weren't paying attention, we had 7 categories. So 5, 5, and then 3 for the rest. What I want you to do in your notes is I want you to just put a little star, a little dot or highlight or whatever. These aren't meant to be ones that you think you're going to do anytime soon. They're just fun ones to share. Does everybody follow that? So you don't have to overthink this. This is just fun ones to share. Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put you in a breakout. You're going to be in a breakout. We're going to do with 4 people. I need you to move quick with this. We're going to do 3. We need to do 3 because of time. It's more fun with more people, but due to time, we only have time for 3. So what you're going to do is you just somebody go first, and they're going to share their 5 for travel, and then the second person 5 for travel, third person 5 for travel. Then you're just going to keep going around the horn, next category, next category, next category. The purpose of this is that you're putting a few out there into the universe, but it also gives you a chance to steal from others. So if you hear one that you like from somebody, you're like, and you're going to write it down. Does everybody see that? You don't even have to tell them that you're stealing it. You can tell them, doesn't matter. There's no intellectual property rights here. So if you got one that you hear, you're like, oh, I'm going to do that for sure. Steal it and run with it. Okay. So here again, we are going to do, let me see. Okay. So here we go. So accept the breakout. When you're done, I'm gonna cut us off at a certain point. So keep going until I cut you off. You're gonna see it'll say 60 seconds. Use up all the time and then head on back. Cool. And we've got one more section of some planning stuff to do. All right. Some of you will have 4 people in your room. That is okay. Just go a little faster. Have a blast. Oh, now go. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. 30 more seconds before they all close out. Here we go. Clean, are you still rocking a Christmas tree behind you? Sick. What?
I'm in the North St. Paul office. I mean,
oh, that lines up. That lines up. All right. You survived. Is that cool? I love doing that. I like doing it in person because then I can walk around and eavesdrop and listen to some cool ones. And I usually get some good ones that I like to steal from people as well. Okay. So here's the purpose of that. The purpose of that, let me get a few of these things out in the open. Let me also take some. Did anybody here take one or two from some neighbors? Cool, right? That's kind of the idea of that. All right. In my experience, what makes this whole thing actually work is when you take it and put it into action. So here's the important part. What I want you to do is I want you to give this just kind of like a once over with some sort of, if you wrote it all out, this would be like, let me just kind of put a little star by the ones that maybe I could get done this year. If you did it on your computer, start by just highlighting or bolding the ones that you think you might be able to get done this year. All right, so go ahead and do this as I'm talking. So again, what I want you to understand with all of this is that there's no perfect science to this. There is no I won or lost. Right? This isn't like, yep, I wanted that whole dreams thing. You know, we've done this with a lot of people. And I know we've been doing this over the years. There are plenty of individuals that thought in 1 year, they were like, I'm going to do all of these. And then at the end of the day, they only ended up doing one or two things. But what I can tell you is that by them doing those one or two things, it was probably a more exciting year than if they had not done this. You guys follow that? My guess is they would have done zero of those things if they hadn't gone through the process. And then you get to the point where you start to get really focused on these things. And then what happens is you get this purpose and vigor behind what you're doing. Okay, let me use an example. There's such a large percentage of the population that are in jobs that don't necessarily light them up. You know what I mean by that? What does the job provide for them? A paycheck, right? And maybe you've been in a job like that before. Maybe that's this job for you. I don't know, right? Maybe you've seen your parents in a job like that. What this can change, though, is so many people look for purpose within their work. If somebody's alive outside of work and the job can be a vehicle to get them there, it brings extra energy and passion to what they're doing. Especially in a job like ours, where you can make a decision to go out and earn extra money to get that trip. Or you can set up your own schedule to do X, Y, or Z. And so I want you to keep looking through, highlight, star, do whatever you want to do for some. And some of them should be smaller, easier things to do. It might be something simple. Elliot had on his, hey, I want to go visit a friend in Madison. Casey Fenlon this weekend is going to New York City to visit a friend. That was on his list. Right? So it could be something that's as simple as that. It could be something like Alex has on his list, call my sister once a week. That's something that you can start now. It costs no money, and his life will be improved by doing it. So will sisters. right? So keep looking through your list. Those of you guys that have done this before, do it again, right? Look through the list and see what things that you could see yourself doing. We crossed already this year. I've done a few on my list. I had on my list live or stay 1 month in an area other than our home. Right? We did that in San Diego. It was awesome. And warm, by the way. I had, play that golf course was another one. So what are things, right? So you should be looking at a list. I don't think that there's too many. What I want you to do is I want you to, again, we're coming up on the end of the time here. What I want you to do is I want you to look at, kind of taking this massive menu and then drilling it back to say, okay, well, here are the ones I think that are within reach this year. Because what I've seen happen often is somebody starts out with this. The first time they go through it, they don't like let the floodgates open. You know what I mean by that? They're kind of like, well, I don't know, that might be kind of dumb. They're working from a judgmental place or a place of scarcity. And then they go through this exercise, they hear other people do it. And then the second time through, they're like wide open, going for it, and they put more on the list. The same, that might not have been you. The same thing is true when it comes to trying to achieve these. So everybody is different. I've done this for years, and some people will go out and they'll just do 1, 2, or 3 on the list the first year. And for them, they're like, that was cool. That was a win. And then they get some momentum from that and they recognize like, I can do more. And then they start to add more to their list and accomplish more. I look at Alex's list. You don't have to do it the way he's doing it, but he has a list of 400 and some. So of course he's going to accomplish more. You guys follow that? He has a larger menu. So all of this comes back to that quote, which is what? Living life by design. You're designing it as you go. Hey, if you're 20 years old right now, you don't know what you're going to be like when you're 30. Trust me, you don't. If you're 30, you don't know what you're going to be like when you're 40. I don't know what I'm going to be like when I'm 40. I'm 36 right now. I have an idea of who I want to be, but I might be into some other stuff that I'm not currently into. There might be things that I'm like, I never would have thought of now that I will later. But because I'm going down this path, because I'm living this way, I do a few things. I regularly am adding to my list. That's number one. I want you to write that down as something to take away from this. Regularly add to the list. Patrick, you won't be, Patrick, I assume that's a joke. I appreciate the joke. I like the humor. But to that point, you actually won't if you do what we're talking about. When I think of like me at 36, I'm vibrant. I do a crap ton of stuff because I've got a lot going on. I'm excited. So number one is adding things to your list. No, not your bad, Patrick. Not at all. I see the humor in it. Adding to the list, right? That's number one. Number two is constantly checking in to see what things that you can do. Like, hey, I have an opportunity for that. The bigger list that you have, there'll be opportunities where things pop up and you're like, oh, I could go do that now. You could have little things on there like beat Fortnite. You just beat the game, right? And then it's done. Then you don't have to play anymore. Is that how it goes? No, I'm just playing into Patrick's thing. That's all. Right. So the point is you can keep adding and adding and adding to your list. And what this does is you can be in a place where you get 5 dreams done in a year, or maybe it's 2, and then the next year it's 4, and the next year it's 8, and the next year it's 16. And it keeps growing just like finances do. So normally at this point in the Dreams Retreat, what we would do is we would spend about 40 minutes and it would be work time. So we don't have the time. I told you guys till 9:15 tonight. So I'm going to end us here on time. What I'm going to encourage that you do for a little bit after this, when we're done, is that you actually do the planning time. So let me explain what that would look like. So during the planning time, why it's so important that you do this now is because you're in a peak state from the exercise that we just did. Right? It's not going to be as fresh as it is right now if you do it tomorrow. So when we're done here, I want you to, again, look at your menu that you just created. Look at the ones that you were like, yeah, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. And then start to actually do some research on it to see the steps that would take in order for you to accomplish that. So here are the things that you can do. Number one is research online. Google is your best friend with this. Number two is reach out to individuals. I'll explain that one. And number three, you could take this as far as booking and taking action right now. So here's number two. Number two would be, let's say I have on there like, hey, I want to run a 5K or 10K or do a bike race or something else, right? So you would be researching races that you can do. Now, right now, most of the things are canceled, but you'd be researching those things. The first year that my wife and I like really did this, right? We did it on New Year's Eve. I went through, I found the marathon that I was going to sign up for, and I paid like that on that moment during the planning part. I went through, found it, went online, and I paid my registration. Boom, I'm doing it. I'm now accomplishing a dream this year because I paid for it. Right? Now, everybody's in a different situation. We now do this, and when we do it, we end up spending a lot of money on that one day that we do this every year. Because what we do is we make a bunch of decisions on trips that we're going to take, people that we're going to go see, things that we're going to do, and we start buying and paying for those things right then so they actually happen. So for you, it might just be research. Maybe it's not pulling the trigger and spending money on something. Here's one. I was going through my dreams list yesterday in preparation for this today. And one of the things on mine is I want to be in a golf league at least once. So what did I do today? Simple Google search of the courses around my house about golf leagues. Right? And looking that stuff up. So I was taking action on it. The next thing would be calling or texting friends. This isn't just randomly sending out texts or calls or whatever, but this would be, Alex Funk on one of the first Dreams Retreat he went to. One of the things was like going to a going to a Vikings game, right in Seattle. Is that right? Yeah, with his dad. And I said, cool. And I said, so take some action on it right now. And he's like, well, I can't book it. I was like, call your dad right now and see if he can go to that game. Right? So he was taking action. He was putting it out there. Hey, can we do this? I want to do this. And then they talked from there, right? So he was starting the conversation. So in some of these, it's just as simple as you getting the ball in motion. And then, like I said, the third thing would be, so research, talking to people, putting it out there. And the third thing would be pulling the trigger on something. Signing up for a certain course. Ordering something. Buying that first book that you're going to read. If you just said, I'm going to read regularly and you don't have a book, go online and buy it right now. Right? It's like, what action can you take? Here's what I want to hear from you. I would love for you to share on our WhatsApp. Your manager might need, so maybe you share this on your WhatsApp, but I want to know from this, the action that you take tonight. Okay. So here's your assignment. I'm giving you an assignment. If you don't do it, nobody's going to follow up with you and be like, what the hell? Why didn't you do this? Okay. So this is a opt-in. Hopefully you're excited about it. So again, here's what your assignment is. Identify the 6 to 10 is kind of the sweet spot of things that you think you might be able to do this year. I'd love to see what those are. That's number one. Number two is let me know the action that you took. Cool. Those are the two things. Number one, 6 to 10. Julia, it can be more than that. I have no problem with it being more than that. Julia just asked what if it's more than 6 to 10. And then I want to know what action that you take tonight. So some of you have my cell phone number. Send me, and actually here, I'm just going to throw my cell phone number in here. So those of you that do not have it, I'd love for you to text me tonight with this. Hey, just so you know, my phone is always off at night. So you could text me whatever tonight. I'll just get it in the morning. So don't expect a response. if you have not texted me before, please put who you are when you send the text. Okay. Colleen, I love that. I've seen that. That's such a cool one. Oh, that's so great. Is it Lady Colleen or is it Lady Coco? Colleen, yeah. All right. So, hey guys, this is our first time doing a virtual one. Do me a favor and actually send me that text tonight, though, because I'd love to have some success stories of that, and then we can follow it along and see how it goes from there as well. Look at those things happening, lady. All right. Hey, thank you guys for playing full out tonight. This was awesome. I hope this was impactful for you. I'm excited to hear all the success stories. Have an awesome night. See ya. Keep dreaming.